Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast Postgame Show. I've missed you guys. It was a short little break there. Last postgame podcast we had was, I believe, Tuesday. Pistons did get a couple days of rest, and so did I. Even though I have been, posting content on this YouTube channel and this podcast for you. But let's get into these post-game quarter notes, and then we'll open up the show to comments and questions, Q&A. If you're not new here, you know how we kind of do these shows. If you are new here, what I'll do is I take notes during the game, kind of talk about key points, and then the rest of the podcast. This is pretty chill. If you have a comment from tonight's game with this 12 straight win, if there's something you want to talk about, if there's something you've seen maybe on your timeline on social media or talking with your friends or family, just leave it in the YouTube chat. And if you're an audio listener and you've never come on one of our post game podcasts live on YouTube, I encourage you to do so. I'm not, saying you have to, but if you'd like to, be part of the conversation, you're more than welcome. Everyone is welcome to contribute on these podcasts. I always say, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be anywhere personally. But let's get into these post-game notes. So the Pistons were playing the Milwaukee Bucks last game of the week. And going into this game, and I heard this stat, and I had to look it up because I didn't think it was true. So the Pistons going into this game were 1 for 29 against the Bucks. I was like, have the Bucks really had our number that long? And I had to look, and I was like, oh, Giannis has just owned the Detroit Pistons since he's been in Milwaukee. It was quite some time. So going into that game, 1 and 29, I was a sicko. I wanted to know who was on the team the last time the Pistons won. And Sadiq Bey was on the roster, so it was a minute since the last time the Pistons beat the Bucks. But obviously, Milwaukee wasn't playing Giannis. He's dealing through some sort of injury. In terms of injuries, got some good news for you guys. Jaden Ivey came back, 15 minutes tonight, looked great. Tobias Harris, after missing 9 games, came back. He looked great. Didn't even look like he missed any time whatsoever. So you got 2 starters back. Now, obviously, Ivy didn't start, came off the bench. Tobias did start. The only players that are still injured, Marcus Sasser, still dealing with that hip, and Bobby Klittman, who doesn't really get a whole lot of time. He's still dealing with the ankle sprain, but those are the most of the injuries we can get out the way. Pistons defense was very aggressive, very early. Sar Thompson identified Ryan Rollins, that's a tongue twister if you say it too fast, very early. And he was just in his chest. I don't think Ryan Rollins has ever dealt with a defender like a Sar Thompson. Within the first quarter, Sar kind of just taps the ball out of bounds, and Ryan Rollins is pushing him away. It's just the defense that Asar plays, the physicality in which he plays with, and I saw a lot of people in the timeline talking "Oh, that's the calm twin. If that was a man, he would have put him in the walls of Jericho." It made me laugh. But Asar was doing his thing. Ryan Rollins still did his thing. He started getting going in the second half of this game. Jaden Ivey did check in around the 5-minute mark, and he came in off the bench, so he did make a season debut. Looked good out there. Obviously, there were some jitters, not playing regular season basketball since last year, I believe January against the Orlando Magic. And funny enough, Cole Anthony was out there for both times. So Cole Anthony obviously did injure his leg, and he's with the Bucks now. And obviously, those two weren't really matched up tonight, thank God, because Cole Anthony can be very reckless at times. But Pistons in this first quarter, they had a lead. Milwaukee kind of went on a run a little bit towards the end. And then the Pistons kind of surged. Duncan Robinson hit a three-pointer, a buzzer beater three-pointer in this one, and it was 30-26 end of the first quarter. So another quarter where the Detroit Pistons are coming out as the aggressors. Now, we've talked, the last week or two of, we'd like to see them come out and win quarters. This is a trend where they're starting to win more quarters. They're starting to come out more aggressive, which is always a good sign. I think you give yourself a chance to win a lot of basketball games. And funny enough, they're in a 12-game winning streak. If you come out aggressive, and they've done that. Going into the second quarter, just the way that they came out, Andre Jackson stole the ball because we're turning over the ball like a lot. And Javonte Green tried to make a play on the ball, and then he like shoved them into the audience, the stands, if you will. And the Bucks were playing zone because they didn't really know how to deal with the Detroit Pistons, sets offensively in the half court, and it worked for a little bit. Maybe 4 or 5 possessions later, the Pistons figured out how to shoot over the zone. And the bench unit, I really felt in the second unit, helped the Pistons. They scored over 20 points in the second quarter, and it was like Javonte Green, it was Dennis Jenkins, Stu, and they really, gave the Pistons a surge in the second quarter. Bucks did go on a little run though, got within 6. And as soon as JB Bickerstaff substituted Jalen Duren in this game, the lead just exploded. It was like, okay, are the Bucks gonna kind of have like a back and forth? Is this gonna be a 10-point game? But you go in the halftime and you're leading 69-52, and it's like I'm looking at these past previous games with the Pistons, and they're almost scoring 70 points in a half. Like that's great by the Detroit Pistons. That's really great. That's a good trend you want to continue to keep having. Coming out of halftime, the Pistons just came out really aggressive. They were looking like they were trying to end this one very early. The lead was all the way up to 29 at one point, but then the Pistons were kind of getting complacent in their sets in the half court. They just started like chucking shots. Like they weren't really, running set plays. Bucks did get it down to 17. But the Pistons eventually started, getting into their sets, executing more of their plays, getting more comfortable in the half court. Ivy had a little stint in the third, back-to-back plays where he got to the rim and then he got to the free throw line. And to end the third, you're up 104-85. Going into the fourth, Cade scored. He was facilitating another game where, he scored over 20 points and 10 assists. So good for Cade Cunningham in this one. There were a little bit of turnovers, and it just got to the point where I don't know if the Pistons were bored because they were up so much. JB did take a timeout. After he did take a timeout, the lead just kind of skyrocketed a little bit because the Bucks were kind of making it a little bit close, kind of chip away at this lead. But Pistons end up winning this one 129-116. That is 12 straight wins. And that actually is a tie with the 2003-04 Pistons when they won the championship for 12 consecutive wins. You end the week 3-0, still undefeated. I don't think you've lost a game since October 27th against the Cleveland Cavaliers, our first Peacock game. So it's been a minute since the last time the Detroit Pistons have lost a basketball game. I told you guys when I was looking at this November schedule, I thought that there was a lot of winnable games on the schedule. And if the Pistons took advantage of this, they could really give themselves a big cushion and a big lead in the Eastern Conference. And obviously, they have done that. They're 14-2 first 16 games of the season. And if you guys remember, like in 23, that campaign, that year, they won 14 games in 82 regular season games. They've won 14 games in 16 regular season games. That 2-year turnaround has been incredible. I do want to get into the box score, and then we will open up the show to comments and questions. Kind of have this as a longer podcast because I'm probably not going to do one tomorrow. I've just been really busy. We are going to do a longer format podcast next week with Zarek. Obviously tried to get him on this week, but he had plans. So we'll be doing a longer form podcast with him next Sunday. And, the Pistons play 4 times next week. So you'll get plenty of post-game podcasts from me. But let's kind of get into this box score. because I know a lot of people on the audio side like me to go over the box score. So Tobias Harris came back in 23 minutes. I had 18 points, shot 7 out of 9 from the field, 3 out of 5 from three, 1 out of 3 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, and a plus 25 in this one. I mean, scoring 18 points and you missed 9 games, had a really efficient game from the floor. Didn't even look like he missed 9 games out there. He looked great. Duncan Robinson in this one, 28 minutes, 15 points, 5 out of 6 from the field, 5 out of 6 from three. He had a very efficient game as well. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, plus 16 in this one. I mean, he, to me, I think is just getting more comfortable and comfortable each and every game. And it's great to see. He seems like he's been on this team for like, the last 3 years, just the way he's just shooting the ball, the way he's communicating with his teammates. He's starting to let it fly more frequently. I know in the beginning of the year, it seemed like he was really hesitant. I think I cannot say hesitancy. There we go. Has gone away, if that's a word. I don't know if it's a word. Who cares, right? He just looks more comfortable out there. I probably should have just led with that. It's late. I apologize. I'm a little tired. So Jalen Duren in this one, 27 minutes, 19 points, 7 out of 10 from the field. Another efficient shooting night from Jalen Duren. 5 out of 8 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. And he was a plus 15 in this one. Obviously, he's been scoring the ball a lot more this year. Almost scored 20 points again, 19 points. I think that's another development in his game, is kind of being that number 2 option this year. And I love that for him. I really love the progression I'm seeing out of Jalen Duren, putting the ball on the floor. He had a couple of plays on Miles Turner, who's a very good shot blocker still at his age. Some up and unders, had him on a couple of fakes. And, he looks like he's just so dominant around the rim that there's not too many centers, I think, that can really match him for physicality on a night-to-night basis. And I think he's starting to understand, that pain is his. And there's not too many guys that are going to stand in his way. Maybe Zach Edey, but that's it, right? And we only play the Grizzlies twice a year. Cade Cunningham, 33 minutes in this one, 29 points, 10 out of 18 from the field, 3 out of 6 from three. That's always good to see, because I feel like he's been struggling from three. Maybe it's just me. 6 out of 6 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block, plus 14 in this one. Almost had a triple-double. Another game where he dropped 25 and 10. I feel like that's like 6 straight games. Pretty sure the broadcast mentioned that too, of Cade dropping 25 and 10 assists. Something that not too many people in the Pistons organization have done. I'm pretty sure he's actually the only one that's done that consecutively, if I do remember correctly. After I was reading some stats earlier this week, I think he's like the only one in franchise history to do that, which that's crazy. Cade's one of those ones, man. Like, there's a reason why he was 5th in MVP voting this past week. He's rising up that MVP ladder. Pretty soon he's going to be in the top 3. You never know. Sar Thompson, this one didn't score a whole lot. 28 minutes, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block, plus 11 in the box score. Just defensively, like the job he did tonight, just kind of being like a pest and an irritant. I think it definitely got under Ryan Rollins' skin. Paul Reed played 5 minutes in this one, 2 points. JB played everybody. I think he even said in the press conference that he is going to have to shorten his rotation, but he said it's just trying to find new combinations with everyone being back healthy. Isaiah Stewart in this one, 23 minutes, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 blocks in this one. Stu's always going to give you a good effort off the bench, and 23 minutes, 7 points isn't bad. Ryan Holland, 17 minutes, 4 points, 2 out of 6 from the field, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He's getting better in the scoring column. I know a lot of people are very, I shouldn't say the word confused, but maybe a little frustrated that he's not scoring as much. But I kind of attribute that just to teams watching more film. They know where Ron wants to go, and I think he's starting to figure out ways where he can be effective without scoring. I thought defensively, he brought a lot of energy out there. Obviously, we'd like to see him score more, but hey, sophomore slumps do exist. Javonte Green in this one, 13 minutes, 7 points, was perfect from the field in this one, and was a +4 in the box score. Karis LeVert in 13 minutes, 5 points, 1 assist, 1 steal. I was very encouraged to see him and Jaden Ivey out in the bench unit together. I think that's something that we might see quite a bit. Speaking of Jaden Ivey, he was on a minute restriction, obviously. 15 minutes, 10 points, 4 out of 6 from the field, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 steal. Good to see him. He'll probably be in a minute restriction for quite a bit just because the Pistons want to be precautious with his knee, obviously, but good to see him out there tonight, right? Because I didn't expect him until like December. Chaz Lanier played 2 minutes. It was garbage time. Didn't really touch the ball too much. And Danis Jenkins, 13 minutes, 7 points. He was perfect from the field, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, and only 1 personal foul. He was a +3 in this one. So that is the box score with the Detroit Pistons. Obviously, you guys, I don't know if we are going to see like that many. I don't even know what I did. People out there, and I'm trying to figure out. Hold on. What the hell did I do? Oh man. Hold on. What the heck did I do? Oh man, I hate when I do this in StreamYard. Crying out loud, man. Hold on, you guys. Okay. I made it big and I didn't mean to make it big. And it's just like give me a hard time of closing it right now. Hold on, you guys. I apologize. Give me a second. Um cry- Okay, I figured it out. I don't even know what the hell I did, man. I don't know what I did at all, you guys. I do apologize there. Oh man, I am just extremely tired right now. I do want to open up the show to comments and questions. I do see that we do have a few um in here, but we'll get to the first couple. We have Michigan made with one of the first comments of the post game show. So with Ivy back and Jenkins continuing to show he's a dog, Detroit is looking scary. Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised to see Jaden Ivey back. Obviously, I saw that he was questionable. There was news that he got assigned to the Motor City Cruise, the G League, and he was doing kind of like 5v5, just like rehabilitation drills to get back into basketball shape. So it's good to see both of them out there. I do think there's a world where both of them are still going to continue to get minutes. I see conversations that Jenkins played so well. I see Pistons fans saying Jenkins took Ivy's spot. I don't really think that to be the case. I think if anything, Jenkins probably took Marcus Sasser's spot. I think the Pistons still value Jaden Ivey. They still want to kind of get him integrated, eventually into the starting lineup, possibly. But both of them played really well, and I think what I like about Jenkins is now you don't really have to stagger Jaden Ivey as much, in my opinion, anyways. I think you kind of have a luxury now where like you can have Jaden Ivey on the bench with Cade and have Danis out there with the bench unit. I think last year the reason why we saw Jaden Ivey staggered so much is because we didn't have a point guard, and then we had to go trade for one once he got hurt, in Dennis Schroeder. So I think Bannis can kind of go into that backup point guard and lead the second unit and still get playing time, and Ivy can still get playing time with the starters. Obviously, we're I think a few games away from that. They want to slowly get him ramped up to get playing time. He'll probably be like on a 15 to 20 minute restriction and try to get him up to possibly like anywhere between like 26 to 30 minutes a night. But yeah, it's good to see both of those guys out there. No stupid trade talk. We're rolling 12 deep. I'm so glad someone said something about this because like I've been trying to like stay on top of Pistons news, and obviously this week we've gotten a lot. We've gotten stuff from Memphis Grizzlies podcasters. Like I saw a trade proposal from Locked On Grizzlies for Jaren Jackson Jr. I saw it and I laughed when they wanted 3 first. I saw one recently with Lauri Markkanen and Bleacher Report. We've talked about that. And probably the latest name has been Anthony Davis, just because of the turmoil in Memphis and Nico Harrison leaving, and the Mavs have said we're open to trading Anthony Davis. They're actively shopping to get something for him. And you see Kendrick Perkins saying that like the Pistons and the Philadelphia 76ers are 2 teams that could have internal interest in Anthony Davis. And I don't really understand why the national media wants the Pistons to trade for Markkanen or Anthony Davis or even some Michael Porter Jr. tonight. I'm like, their strength of their team is their depth. Like, why would we blow up half our roster for a guy that's making $40-50 million to ruin the depth? This team's gelling, it's rolling. Like, just keep it within. I mean, if you do want to make a trade, you want to make a marginal trade, sure. But like blowing up the roster and giving up future draft picks or even like rotation guys just for like that big move or that splash, I just think so. Those conversations are just like so tiresome. I'm tired about talking about it. And it's only November. I'm gonna have to talk about it until February because I know there's a certain section of the fan base that just loves talking about trades, and I get it. I'm just to the point where I'm exhausted with it. We're not even in December yet, man. Getting close. We're on the 23rd of November as we are recording this podcast. But man, crazy times. Get back to the Q&A. Let's go. Shout out to Pistons Jack. Yeah, shout out to Pistons Jack. I haven't talked to him in a minute. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to Ivy's return. Shout out to Uncle Tobias Harris. Shout out to all the nasty boys out there. W's in the chat. G Stu is excited, so I'm with the man. It's been really fun watching this team this year. The way they're gelling, the way they're playing basketball, and it's good to get the guys healthy. I mean, I didn't know if they were going to be able to keep the win streak up when Cade went down, and then Asar rolled his ankle, but they found ways to keep winning basketball games, and that's a sign of a good team. It really is. Rocky, I wish I didn't stop playing in the fourth. We could have beat them by those Goose by 30. Yeah, I felt like they got a little bored, especially in the third, like late third, and then like towards the middle of the fourth. But they still got the win, man. That's all that really matters. Obviously, you beat them 129-116. It's not an in-season tournament game. Don't have to worry about that until I believe Friday against the Magic, which they're in our group and they're undefeated. So that'll be a fun game because the Magic are actually playing better basketball as of late. Marcus, 12 straight wins without Cade, Dern, Asar, Stu, Holland, Ivy, or Sasser even being close to the prime incoming dynasty. Yeah, man. I mean, it's fun. It's honestly fun watching this team grow, watching them develop. Honestly think like I was talking with a buddy of mine and he was just like, man, I'm not really sure if I saw this coming. I wasn't sure if this team was going to gel the way that they're gelling. And I think you have to credit that to the players and the work they put on the offseason, but also the coaching staff too. Like we had previous coaching staffs that, maybe they didn't really push these guys, hold them as accountable as they should have. But I think you're seeing that with JB Bickerstaff right now and just the way he has these boys playing basketball. But I really, really like just the way that they're coming out, competing, just playing like nasty physical basketball that we all grew up loving. Whether it was like the bad boy Pistons you grew up on, or the going to work Pistons like what I grew up on. It's fun to watch. Everybody is buying our new City Edition jerseys. Yeah, I saw that. I know, I was in a group chat and someone said that they were trying to buy the new City Edition jerseys, and they're sold out like crazy, like in his size. But you guys know I will not buy a Pistons jersey. I've told the story 1,000 times. Your boy's a jersey curse. I will not buy a jersey because every time I buy a jersey, that player gets traded. I'm just not doing it. Have a question from Marquise Fuller. Do you think once Ivy becomes better at accumulating in the rotation, he is, instead of Thompson, will bring the ball up and give Cade rest while on the court at the same time? Okay, so basically what he's asking is, do I think Ivy will become more of a secondary ball handler in the rotation instead of Thompson? That's a great question. I'm not sure, honestly. I don't think that there's just gonna be like a 1A and 1B. I think with JB, he likes versatility. He likes variety. I think there will be possessions where Cade brings the ball up the court. If they're all out there together, I think there'll be situations where Jaden Ivey brings the ball up the court, and Asar Thompson as well. When Cade's not out there, obviously, I think they'll split it. Whether it's Danis Jenkins, Karis LeVert, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson. I think JB likes to have different ball handlers, but that will tighten up as you get kind of closer to playoff time. Whoever is better, with the ball in their hands. But that's a great question. That's something that I'll probably be monitoring now that Jaden Ivey is back. But it'll be interesting to see, who is more of that like 1A, 1B primary ball handler. JB Bickerstaff has been picking apart zones all season. We went on a 9-0 run against that zone when they tried it. I know initially, Rocky, like we struggled with it, and like 2 possessions later, like we went on like a run like crazy. So it's definitely cool to see the Pistons being able to identify in a zone and then attack it. Lou Will said we didn't have a bench. This is literally the most we've had a bench on years. And now folks say we don't have one. Bench mob is legit this season. Those are my guys at FanDuel Run It Back. I do a lot of work with them, but I did see that. Here's the thing, man. Like a lot of those media personalities, they probably don't have the time to watch each and every game. But to say we don't have a bench is kind of funny when the bench was actually winning us games. But I did see that, Jay Hart. I know a lot of people had sent me that. They're like, yo, Lou Will said we didn't have a bench. It's like, when you're in that position, it's probably really hard to, watch each and every game. But I mean, to say stuff like that, it's just like, yeah, come on, man. Come on, man. Right? MSU diehard fan, one more win, and the Pistons tie the 89-90 Pistons for the longest win streak. I did see that on the broadcast. They did tie the Going to Work Pistons, the 03-04 Pistons, with 12 straight wins. One more win against the Pacers in Indiana. I think it's a pretty good shot to tie a record that Isaiah Thomas and the Bad Boys had on a win streak. So, I mean, this group has a chance to, kind of, be in history with one of the greatest basketball teams ever assembled, with the Bad Boy Pistons. So that's actually really cool. I mean, they've broken like so many records. Like Cade has broken records. The defense this year has broken some records, points in the paint, something since like the 90s that no team has ever broken. Like just the way that they're playing basketball right now, I think is very cool because like we're not looking to kind of copycat and just shoot 40, 50 threes a night. I think what's really cool about this team is they have an identity and they're sticking with it. They're not trying to copycat anyone in the league. And I think that's what has always made a lot of these Pistons teams that we grew up, rooting for and watching and falling in love with is they always had that identity and they stuck with it. They didn't, they went against the grain. They didn't go with the grain and try to copycat and follow everybody. Do we know the minutes played for the Pistons players tonight? SW line, I did go over it on the box score. Jaden Ivey was like 15 minutes. Tobias Harris was, I don't know if he was on a minute restriction, but he didn't play a whole lot. But I mean, when you kind of look at the box score and the game and how it was played tonight, a lot of these guys didn't have to probably play the minutes that they did. Get to a couple more comments and questions, and we'll kind of just end this podcast. Appreciate all you guys watching me tonight. I know it is midnight on a Friday night. Don't really know if you guys have any plans this weekend, but let me know down in the comment section. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a defensive player of the year and a good shooter. Yeah, no one's disputing that he's not, Zach. The problem is with Jaren Jackson Jr. is he's not a good rebounder for his size. Look at the numbers. He's not a strong rebounder. He's making $50 million, and they just extended him. Pistons don't need that. Like, you're better off extending Jalen Duren and letting him develop a jump shot. I'd rather grow internally and grow within than try to, trade half my core, give them 3 picks. And this guy is, I've talked to a Memphis Grizzlies podcaster, and the way he talks about like Pistons players like Stu and Duren, he's just like, yeah, he's like, I wish Jaren Jackson Jr. had that dog, and I'm like Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren does. Even Memphis Grizzlies people get frustrated with Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm good on him. Like, obviously, I know he went to Michigan State, but I just don't really think like, trading like half of your roster to get him away from Memphis is really ideal. Like, they're not going to trade him for peanuts. You're not going to get him for Bobby Clipman in a 2nd-round pick. Like, you're just not. They would probably ask for Asar. They'd probably ask for Stu, 2, 3 first-round picks. And once you get to that point, it's just not really worth it. Like, if you're going to trade multiple first-round picks and you're going to trade, young prospects, you better be getting an all-star in return. You better be getting someone that, can really put you over the top. And I don't really think Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to do that for you. Aaron, Anthony, please buy a LeVert jersey. Man, oh, man, that's rude. That's rude, man. You just got here. I'm not getting a Karis LeVert jersey. See people asking me buy a LeVert jersey because every time I buy a jersey, they get traded. I'm not buying a LeVert jersey. You guys are hilarious, though. I'll get into a couple of more comments and questions, and then we'll probably wrap this podcast up because I do have some work to do after done doing these podcasts with you guys. We do a lot of posting after the game, but I do want to be on here for a couple minutes with you. I think it's silly to make trades that these media hacks are suggesting. It's clickbait. LinkedIn is not dumb. Yeah, and I think that's what it is at this point. Like, I see ideas like thrown out by like Zach Lowe or The Ringer or just other podcasters and media members, and they just don't make sense for the Pistons standpoint, right? I think they will. And I've mentioned that. I think the Pistons will make trades at the deadline. I just don't think they're going to be the trades that we keep seeing. I think they'll be like maybe you're trading a second and a rotational player. You're not. I shouldn't say rotational player. Maybe you're trading like a couple of seconds and like I don't know, maybe Marcus Sasser because like you don't really feel like he's needed anymore because Danis Jenkins has done such a good job. Jaden Ivey came back. Like maybe it's something like that, but I don't really think it's going to be like here's three of our future first and like Asar Thompson. Like I don't think it's going to be that because I think the Pistons want to just keep growing internally. Small trades, Lindy Waters. Yeah, like the Lindy Waters trade I thought was, he's kind of like a throw-in piece. I think it'll be something like that. Like I don't really think you're going to try to disrupt this team's chemistry the way they're playing right now. I don't really think it makes a whole lot of sense to do that, right? Um, I like this depth. I like the bench that we have. The starting unit is a lot of fun. The bench unit, they have fun out there as well. Like I love watching the bench mobs with like Isaiah Stewart and Danis Jenkins out there and Paul Reed and all those guys. Like I think the front office understands what they're doing right now is very special, and it shouldn't go undersold. Winning 12 straight games isn't easy. Just winning, 5 straight games in the NBA is hard to do. What they're doing and collectively how they're gelling and the way the chemistry is right now, you'd be very, foolish to try to disrupt what they have. Because from Cade Cunningham all the way down to Chaz Lanier, they all get along. They all play hard. They all contribute. Like JB said it today. He's just like, from Cade to our 18th guy. He's like, I feel like I can play each and every one of them, and they can help us win basketball games. And that's not something we've, had the luxury of having, of being a very deep team, probably since I was a kid. So I probably wouldn't want to disrupt any of that. Like if there is a hole in the roster and Trajan Langdon feels like he can marginally upgrade it, I think he will, but he also has contract extensions kind of looming over him. Like, what is he going to do with Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren? How much does he want to resign them for? Do you bring back Tobias Harris because he's on an expiring $26 million deal? Like what he's done for the organization the past 2 years. A lot of the young guys speak very highly of him and just the type of leader and the veteran he is. I know some fans get frustrated with him and they feel like, for the 26 million that he signed, he should be producing more. But I mean, I think what I like about him is just his veteran leadership, the professionalism, and how he's kind of just been a pillar and a safety blanket for a lot of the young guys to go to if they have any problems. And I think that's invaluable. But that's just my opinion on it. There's a lot of different avenues that they could go down. They could just kind of, team run it back, bring everyone back, resign everybody. They can make moves, but like I said, we're in November, you guys. I'm almost getting annoyed talking about trades every freaking post game podcast. I'm gonna get to the point where it's just like if someone asks a trade, I'm just not gonna answer the question. But I do appreciate you guys, coming on in for the last 40 minutes or so watching this podcast. All I really ask is drop a like on this video. It does help the podcast. It does help the YouTube channel grow. We just hit 30,000 subscribers recently. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers possibly this season. We'll see. I appreciate each and every one of you. I see a lot of my regulars in this, live chat. See some new people in here, popping on in each and every post game podcast. So we do appreciate you guys there. We will see you guys all next week. We have 4 games. I believe it's the Pacers. I know it's the Heat and the Magic. I don't remember the second team. Oh, the Boston Celtics. Play the Celtics again. I feel like that's an ESPN game, if I do remember correctly. I think the one ESPN game we have so far this year, it'll be against the Boston Celtics. So 4 games next week, which means 4 post-game podcasts that you'll be seeing me. I'm sure you guys are excited about that. But hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Take care. Have a good night. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.